recording now here. And Sarah, I will turn it on over to you.
Awesome. That's great. Now, I do see, Laura, that we've got a couple of students with their hands up. Do they have questions? I see Uday and Aman. Do you have a question, or are you just eager to get started?
Oh. I think they might have been indicating that they attended the session.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So folks, this is your time. This is your presentation. So feel free to interrupt me, ask questions, butt in, turn on your mics or throw them in the chat. I'm not great at monitoring the chat and doing a presentation, but I do have a sidekick here. So maybe we can tag team this together. And we'll get started. So let me just share my screen and off we go. So I'm going to take this down right now. And this is never a smooth transition, I find. So, all right. And of course, that's on the wrong page. My apologies. I had this all ready to go, I swear. And that's just the way it is. So welcome everybody to another session of your Fanshawe Cares. My name is Sarah Rattan, and I'm a cooperative education consultant. And I look after programs in the School of IT. So if there's anybody here from the Software and Information Systems Testing Program, Network and Security Architecture, or Cybersecurity, I am your co-op consultant. Or from the Motive Power program. I look after the Motive Power co-ops as well. So just moving along here, this big long name here, Employment and Student Entrepreneurial Services, that's a mouthful. What that means is that is one department that looks after career services, and we'll go through each one of these, but that goes through, looks after career services, the co-op department. It also looks after something called community employment services that can help you when you graduate. If you're looking for work and you need anything from mock jobs or more extensive job boards out in the community, they can help you. And then of course we have something called LEAP Junction, which is our entrepreneurial services office. And they offer all kinds of great workshops and events to help students that might be considering becoming their own boss, which is always very appealing to a certain set of students for sure. So as I said, we're going to go through each one of those departments. So what is career services? Career services is a department where you can go, everybody, first of all, everybody at Fanshawe, any student has a dedicated career consultant. So if you have, pop your program name in the chat. Would love to see those programs that you guys are representing. And each one of those programs has a dedicated career consultant. They often will come into your class either through, through Zoom, and hopefully in January more hybrid, more in class. And they can also do one-on-one with you. So if you've got questions about your resume, or you want to do a mock interview, or you need help with writing that cover letter, all of those really important things that are going to help you get a job here in Canada, they are your department. So they offer all kinds of great events as well. They have job fairs. We just had a fantastic event called Ignite, which is a career conference just for students. It was really well attended, and we had some wonderful, wonderful speakers. So when you approach a career services consultant, they're going to help you, like I said, with that resume, cover letter. They can help you with your job search. So, where do I look for a job? Where do I even start? They can help you with that. They can help you with networking. They help build and assist you with your LinkedIn profile. So a little homework for all of you. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, that is your homework. Get looking into that. Career Services also offers great workshops that you can drop in, or you can view the session later at your leisure if you want to go through some of those topics that we've mentioned. They also do things like how to navigate applicant tracking system, which is something, if you know what, let's show of hands if you have, let me just see if I can see everybody. Show of hands, folks, if you have heard of an applicant tracking system. Few hands there. So an applicant tracking system is a system that most employers, especially bigger organizations, will use to weed out and weed in resumes. So they're going to be looking at certain words, certain terms, certain phrases to make sure that those are reflected in your resume. And if they're not, your resume is going to get filtered into the trash bin. So they can help you with those kind of things. So a really important workshop there. They help you with career exploration and assessments. So, you know, you're in, anybody here in practical elements of mechanical engineering, I bet you there's a few. They can help you, okay, where would I look for a job? Who are the employers that are hiring? What is the manufacturing sector like in London? So they can help you with that. As I mentioned, they do those one-on-one appointments and they offer the webinars. And our hashtag is here for you. So if you've encountered or worked with anybody in our career services area and want to promote that on social media, that is our hashtag. So we love seeing that. So now we're going to talk a little bit about cooperative education. So anybody here in a co-op program, throw it in the chat if you are in a co-op program. So I'm seeing office admin. Okay, yeah, that's a brand new program, the mobile application process. That's a cool one. PEM is not. Web design, no, we don't have on there. ECE has a placement. Business management has, no, there's no co-op in that. Okay, yes, we've got co-ops in those programs. So wonderful. So in co-op, it's a little bit different than a placement. So I saw someone there was in ECE. You would have a placement, like it's 6 or 8 weeks, and the college arranges that. You go out to your placement, etc. In a co-op falls within an academic semester, and you have access to a job board that is specific to you and your program. So only you and your program, your cohort would have access to it, and you apply for those jobs on that job board. We don't give you the job, but we give you all the tools to help you get that job. It is your responsibility to apply to jobs, to go to the interviews, to prepare for the interviews, et cetera, et cetera. But then when you go out on that academic term, it's 12 to 14 weeks, depending on your program. And it's a paid work integrated learning experience. So it's a wonderful opportunity to get career-related experience on your resume here in Canada. So our co-op programs are very, very popular, as you can well imagine. In a co-op program, if you are in a program that has a co-op attached to it, you would see on your timetable that you've got something called co-op, COOP 1020 or 1021 if you're in a degree program. That course is a 6-week course, and we're going to talk to you, like I said, about how to build a resume, how to job search, how to interview, all of those really important things. Even if you decide, because most programs, they can defer their co-op, but you still have to, or they can decide not to take a co-op, but you still have to take that co-op 1020 class and pass that class, because it is part of your transcript, it's part of your evaluation. So when you are working in a co-op program, what you can expect is that 6-week course, that 6 weeks program. We help market your program to industry related employers. So we're always working and liaising with employers to grow your program. We are accessible by email, and we respond within 24 to 48 business hours. And we help guide you through the whole employment process. Okay. And again, we love that hashtag here for you. So if you are working with a co-op consultant, we'd love to hear about it on social media. So what will be expected of you, or if you are in a co-op program, is that you attend classes. It's like any other course, although it's shorter, which is kind of nice, and there's no tests, but there are 4 assignments that you have to submit, and they include a resume. There's some health and safety training. We expect you to apply to a mock job on our job board, and we're going to walk through the job board. And then we have an employer research assignment, because we want you to know what your industry is and who's out there and who's an employer that you would want to work for. So we want you to do a little bit of research for us. You would have access to us again through those 6 weeks, but then we work with you one-on-one if it's necessary. We're in constant contact with you. You have access to an FOL page just dedicated to your co-op, that co-op course, to help guide you. So lots of resources and lots of help there with co-op. So when it comes to the co-op and career department, one of the things that we're really proud of, and I'm going to just stop the share for a second. And Laura, can you tell me, do these students have access to FOL right now?
I believe everyone should have access to FOL. Yes.
Okay.
As long as they've been invoiced, then they should have access to that. Yes.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you really quickly through the job board, what it looks like, so that you're familiar. And I don't expect you to remember all this, because it's an awful lot of info that I'm throwing at you here. But I'm just gonna, again, not do this as gracefully as I had intended, but here we go. So can you guys see, I'm gonna go over here. Can you guys see, does it say Co-op 1020 NSA SST? Just throw it in the chat if you can see it. Yep, awesome, thanks, Joe. So this is what your FOL page would look like if you are in a co-op program. If you're not, we're going to talk about that as well. But if you're in a co-op program, this is the page that you'd see. This is all the info, all the content related to your co-op course, all the assignments, and there, again, those 6 modules that we go through with you. It's quite robust. We got lots of great resources and info on there. In any program, it doesn't matter what program you're in or what course you're taking, you want to make sure that you are logging into this page and checking out things like the announcements that your professors are posting. So for instance, in co-op, we'll post those great career events and workshops that we have, things like that. So make sure you're always checking in there. If you're not in a co-op program, no worries. So here's our little job board, job site button that you would press to access the job board. But like I said, if you're not in a co-op program, no worries whatsoever. You still have access through here, and every student can access through here. We go through resources and we go through career co-op, and this is that CCR, the co-curricular. We're just going to focus on the career and co-op. You'd press this. I'm not going to, because it takes me into, it's kind of a long story, but it doesn't take me to where I need to go. So it will for you. So if you go in through there, you'll end up in a board that looks like this. Okay, so this is our co-op and our career job board. This is your new best friend when you come to Fanshawe, okay? It's really important for those students that are seeking work, both part-time and full-time work. All of our students have access to this career job board for life now that you're a member of the Fanshawe family. So just remember that. Even when you graduate, you can still log in and see the jobs that we're posting. And that's really important because a lot of employers are seeking our Fanshawe students and our Fanshawe programs. So you still want to be checking into that job board if you are job seeking. So for our career, for everybody, any Fanshawe student, they can access this career job board. Okay, it's got lots of great info on here. It's got the job postings. So let me see, what do we have? Supply chain. So if I want to go and see search job postings, I can go up here. There's all kinds of great info here to really filter, and you testing students will love that, you IT students, but just for everybody else, scroll down here to search by individual program. And then you just pop in the name of the program that you're looking for. Does anybody want to pop in a program name, and I'll look up to see what kind of jobs are out there? I'm just checking the chat here. SCM. What's SCM?
Supply chain management. I know
Supply
that's
chain management.
yeah.
I should know that better.
I'm seeing a lot of business marketing students as well.
Okay, well, we'll start with these guys.
Yeah.
Our supply chain. So what I've done is I've checked this because we want to see what jobs are there. So we're going to go search job postings. So right now there's 13 full-time jobs posted for our supply chain management. So now that you guys know how to do this, you can do this as well and see what kind of jobs are out there. So we've got jobs at Amazon, and now it might be one posting, but right now Amazon's got 1,500 openings. Okay, so not a bad number there. Logistics coordinator, scheduling coordinator, production warehouse. So some really great opportunities. So what you would then do is go up here, save your search results, and you would just call them. Now that I know what SCM means, I click this little button and I'd hit save. And I'm not going to do that because then I'll get constant emails about the new jobs that are posted. But if you do that, it's like your own little headhunter that's going to email you the jobs that are related to your program. So a really great tool for students and that they should know about. So I mentioned also events, and sorry, did you have a question? Did somebody have a question? No? Okay, I thought I heard a mic turn on. So this is our career services page for November, all of the great things that we've got going on. And what you do is you would just click on this. And now because I'm not a student, I can't get in there. I would just click, typically up here it would say join, okay? So that's how it's that easy to attend our events, okay? Some further job search websites. So we do have our own job board, but we also make sure that you've got access to all other job boards as well. So here's the job board for Canada, the jobbank.gc.ca. So that's the government of Canada. And then the London specific ones, more government specific ones, common job boards, internship postings. So there's all kinds of really great things on here. Just going to take you over to the career services contact. So as I mentioned, every single program has their own career services consultant. So any of those folks that were putting in that they're in the design program, contemporary media, language and liberal studies, Larissa would be who you would want to contact about, can I get some help with my resume? Never done an interview in Canada. How do I do a mock? Could you do a mock interview with me? So great contacts. Any of you folks in business, and I think Laura said there was a few popping up that they're in the business program. So Christina Rapson is who you would want to connect with. Liska looks after anybody that's in the aviation programs, and then anybody in the building technology, so architectural technology or carpentry, renovation, civil. It's escaping me right now, but not the project management, but it'll come to me.
Construction project management?
How did you know what I was thinking? There you go.
It's a very popular program.
It most certainly is. Rebecca is going to be looking after all the tourism, public safety, community studies. So that's that ECE, and then the digital and performing arts. Ashley looks after nursing and health services. And then you've got Christina looks after transportation technology and applied science and tech. So that's those PEMers, those engineers that we've got out there. And we always get lots of great engineers coming to Fanshawe. And then finally, Amy looks after information technology and then the English Language Institute if you are here for a program in that specific school. So some really great info there, some really great content, job search toolkit, a little bit more information about how to write a resume, all those kind of great things, and then those online workshops. And then if you were in a co-op program, so somebody that's not in a co-op program wouldn't have this tab, but anybody in a co-op program will have access to the same things, but on a co-op, more of a co-op slant to them. And then they would have access to those specific jobs for their program. Okay. And if you are in a co-op program and you're wondering, okay, so when do I go out on my co-op? It's all right here, the co-op sequence. So this is a test student, so it's not, you know, it's not going to be specific to any one program, but it gives you an idea over here when you go out on a program. So I hope that helps, a little background on that job board. I'm going to go back to my my presentation here. Here we are. Here we go. There we go. All right, so we got all the way down here. So we're going to go from current slide. So that's that co-op part. So I hope you guys, and I wasn't monitoring the chat, so if you had any questions, just throw them in there, and I can we can certainly circle back if you've got questions at the end as well. So that's that job site job board access that's this slide here. And as I mentioned, so students, regular students that are not in a co-op, you just log into FOL. Again, you'd go to resources and then scroll down to career and co-op. For those of you in a co-op program, you will have an FOL page dedicated to your co-op, and that little job site button is right there on the landing page. So then finally, our final department that I wanted to talk about was LEAP Junction. Again, anybody that is looking to be their own boss, they want to start their own business, you have access to this great office here, LEAP Junction. They too offer great workshops on everything from, you know, building your business program, the business plan, to how to pitch an idea. They do one-on-one consultations. And again, they have great networking events and workshops as well. So all you have to do is simply Google LEAP Junction, and that comes up for you. So one of the final things I wanted to mention was we are now at Fanshawe College a military connected college. So we're really pleased and honored to be a part of that. So we help current serving students in the military, or students that have a family connection in the military, veterans. We will assist anybody that is a former civil servant, as I mentioned, the immediate family members, and we even have help or assistance for foreign military vets. So you would need to connect with our, just again, Google Military Connected Campus Fanshawe and reach out to them and see what kind of services that they have, if that is something that might appeal to you and a category that you fall into. So just again, to reiterate, we have a job board that's open to all of our students and graduates. We have a dedicated job board for our co-op students. Students in a co-op do get a course and full instruction on how to navigate that co-op process. We do both one-on-one and online workshops for anything career related. We offer career exploration and assessments. So again, if you need more labor market information related to your program, you can see one of our career consultants. We have those great events like Ignite, which is our career conference. We have career fairs all throughout the year, and other great speakers and events, people coming into the college looking to connect with our students. We also have something called Interview Stream, and then also something called In Stage, two different tools that you can use to help you with the interview process. So they're simulated interviews to help students, because I know that can be very daunting. It can be very scary almost when you're going into an interview if you've never done one before. And then finally, we've got Leap Junction to answer any of your entrepreneurial questions or assist with any of those needs that you might have. Again, there is the contact list. So more information about Leap Junction, a complete list of our career consultants, a complete list of our co-op consultants, and then that's the list of our co-op program. So if anybody had questions on that. And that is that's it for the formal part of this presentation. Anybody, does that raise any questions for anybody? Any concerns, comments? Is it too early for these guys, Laura? They maybe not have had their
too early or maybe too late for some, but lots of different questions. What I would just say is that there's just such wonderful resources available to each of you. So I know that everyone's very focused on their studies, but really you can see this time as a time of transition into developing your careers, and really taking advantage of these services will be so helpful to get you prepared to join the workforce.
Definitely.
So we do have a few questions here in the chat. So Sheila is asking about sessions for making a Canadian resume.
I'm just looking that up right now because, as I mentioned, our career services department has workshops all the time, and I'm just looking to see what they've got here. So today's the 10th. We have at 11 o'clock, there's a workshop on building your resume. So what I could do, Laura, is pop in the chat here that workshop schedule,
Awesome.
so that they'll have access to that. So it'll just take me a second to navigate. So if you've got more questions, just throw them on out there.
Sure. So there are a few questions about receiving a copy of this presentation. I don't know if you have it as a PDF, but that'd be really helpful. I know a lot of people particularly are looking for the contact information on slide 12.
Oh, you know what? And I can pop that right in the chat too. So let me just, and I almost took a, nope, that's not it. Oh, geez, Laura, you'd think we'd be better at this, eh, by now?
That's okay. Yeah, so just Zoom user. I'm not sure what your name is. Probably not Zoom user, but for the person who posed that question, yes. So all students do have access to the career services team, whether or not they have a co-op or not. So certainly take advantage of the sessions that Sarah's going to post for us.
So
and
that,
even.
So sorry, Laura, what I just posted there was the complete list of our career consultants.
Okay.
And this will be the complete list of our co-op consultants. And then if you're wondering, because I always find students are like, am I in a co-op program? I'm not sure. So I'm going to pop in the list of the co-op programs. And then I'm still trying to source that, what do you call it there? The list of our workshops in November. So let me just find that.
Another suggestion for each of you would be to follow career services on social media, because they'll be posting updates around when these sessions are going to be taking place. So if you follow them, then you'll always get the latest news and be able to add that information to your calendar. Also, their website's updated frequently as well. So that's another place where you can find that information.
And I just popped the November workshop schedule in the chat there. And Bhargav, yes, it is open even when you're an alumni. So most of our services are open to students once they're alumni, for sure. Okay, so yeah, so I did mention that when we were talking about the co-op, we give you all the tools to be successful, how to write a resume, how to interview, how to job search, but you do have to apply, you do have to go to the interview, you do have to pass the interview and be the successful candidate. And so a lot of the onus is still on you, but we do assist you with the whole process. So yeah, the link for the co-op programs is in there. That was the link, that was the last link that I shared there at 10:02. Okay, any other questions or concerns? One of the things too, Laura, I did want to mention, I have to tell you guys, the number one reason consistently that students don't get a job or a placement or a co-op is because of a poor resume. That is consistent across every program. And it doesn't matter how good your grades are. It doesn't matter, what kind of experience you have. If you are not presenting yourself well in a resume, you're not going to get through the door. So I've just been working with 2 students in the School of IT. One straight A, amazing student. One failed a course. Looking at both resumes, the student that failed the course got a co-op because their resume was excellent. Their interview was excellent. The other student, not so much. They didn't listen, Laura, to what we were telling them about the resume, and they were using things like, I did this, or they started with, the wrong sections, like having sections in there that they shouldn't have, or it wasn't, things weren't spelled properly, things like that. Yeah. And that's what's, going to turn off an employer.
Yeah, for sure. It's a single opportunity to make that first impression. So you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all of the expertise of our co-op and career consultants, and applying the suggestions that they're recommending for you. Something I see in quite frequently as well is students who sort of continue with a resume they would have used in their home country. So different countries have different styles of resumes. So when you come to Canada, it's a really great idea to attend these workshops, especially even if you're just at the beginning of your preliminary job search and looking for some part-time employment. Just get some feedback on different areas where you can update that resume and make it look your best. Because there's a lot of applicants out there for jobs right now, right? And you want to make sure that your information is really shining.
So true. So just little interactive part here. Hands up. You can just pop it in, use the reactions there. Hands up if you have your headshot on your resume. You do? Okay, Ivan does. Anybody else? Ivan's the only one that's going to admit it. Oh, and he knows already. So I am seeing another hand up there. So he knows already that is not something that's acceptable here in Canada. And that is one of the top things that we see, Laura, is a headshot. And I always tell students, sure, throw your headshot on there if you're applying to be Canada's next top model. If you're not, take your headshot off there. Okay. And the reason for that is because in Canada, especially Ontario, we love our laws. We love having I don't know, for lack of a better word, restrictions, I guess. But one of them is when it comes to hiring, managers cannot be seen to be being biased. Okay. So if you have your photo on there, it could be interpreted that they're being biased and hiring one person, that's diverse this way rather than another way or something. So they want to steer totally clear of that. So that's why we suggest that you don't put your headshot on there. Well, you know what? Okay, so that's a really great point, Ivan. I like what you're saying. However, you're going to find right now that here in Canada, in London, there's news stories all over the place. We are in a skills shortage. So employers can't be too picky. However, what I would say to you as well, you know what, here in London, we've had international students for quite a while now between the college and the university. Employers are used to international students. So I don't see that any biases that way, if that's what you're implying. But what I would say is make your resume as easy as possible for the employer to read. And Laura, I'm sure you've seen this a million times. You've got a student with like 4 names. You would just go with what you go by. It's not going to be your full name on your passport or on your birth certificate or your, your documents. Like I don't go by my full name. It's just Sarah Rattan. I wouldn't go Sarah Jane Rattan. So you want to make it as easy as possible. So I hope that makes sense. And you also want to go with your first name first on a resume, because I do see in different countries that they start with the last name. So we don't do that here in Canada. So it's those little things that you want to be cognizant of. But I appreciate what you're saying, Ivan, for sure. But use your own name. There's nothing more beautiful than your own name. I love seeing and learning new names for sure. Yeah. And you know what, and I'm going to get really picky because I like to call myself the resume ninja. So is CV, Laura, have you ever used a full CV?
I have not. I've just used resume.
Right. So I did have to do a CV when I applied to my master's program. Did you have to do that too?
It was something a little bit different. I had more of a profile, but there is quite a great difference between a CV and a resume. And I think that's where we're going here. So
that's right. Yeah. Yes. So my CV is about 7 pages long. A resume in Canada, employers are expecting 2 pages. Okay. No more. It can be less if you don't have that a lot of experience, but you'll find once you start putting to paper everything that we suggest that you do, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I've got way more than I thought. So there is a difference. A CV is a really long document. So our president, anybody know who our president is? What's our president's name? No one? So I always say Peter Devlin, probably. Oh no, that's our prime minister. That's Justin. No, our president of Fanshawe College is Peter Devlin, and I would bet that he had to put in a CV when he applied for the job. But you and I and everybody else are just going to be using a 2-page resume. And one of the things I wanted to show you guys as well, and I've got it up here right now. Oh, there we go. Sorry, guys.
Yes, we're very happy you're here too, Ivan.
What can you guys see right now? Can you see computer programming and analysis?
Awesome. You just flipped off of it, but it was there. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put it back here. So just a little trick, guys, when you are putting your resume together, your program, every single person in a program here at Fanshawe College has a program page. If we scroll down here, there's really great information on here.
Sarah, I think I'm seeing black on your screen right now.
Okay, so I'm just going to pull this over here and let me try this again. There. Can we see computer programming and analysis?
Yes. Yeah.
So I just picked that one because it's an IT program. I don't look after this one, but we usually have a huge cohort of students. So, so there's these great little tabs. This little guy, guys, if you take nothing from this other than don't put your picture on a resume, have a look at this tab. Okay. Lots of great info, blah, 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 program description. When you go out on an interview, reread this so you are up to date and current with your program in case they ask you about your program. But if we scroll down here, these little gems here, these learning outcomes, every single program has a list of learning outcomes. These are the things that we at Fanshawe have promised to teach you, okay? We don't want you to graduate until you've got a really solid knowledge of these things. These are also the things that an employer wants to know that you know. So when you're building your skills section, which is arguably the most important section of your resume. So you're going to go your contact information, and then you're going to go into a skills section. These are the things the employer wants to know that you know. So I'm not saying cut and paste and pop these in a PDF. What I am saying though is read through these. What do you know? What applies to you? What do you think the employer wants to know? Do you have the ability to analyze and define the specifications of a system based on requirements? Blah, okay? So again, every single program has this, and it's just under the more info, and it's your learning outcomes that you're looking for to help you build that resume. Yeah, so Macy, I hope that answered some of the questions. So you've got your career consultant, and if you're in a co-op program, we do 6 weeks with you, basically going over what to put in a resume. There are lots of great resume workshops and a lot of the programs as well. Laura, you teach in one of the schools, don't you? Or are you still teaching?
Yeah, I used to teach in the EAP program at
And
the English Language Institute. Yeah.
Did you teach resumes there?
No, it was
Okay.
an English program. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I thought you might have gone over the fundamentals. So, but a lot of programs do offer something that helps students build their resumes. Okay, so that's a question I have no idea about.
Yeah, so for those general questions, of course, everyone is welcome to email the Fanshawe Cares team. If you had questions outside of the scope of this presentation, certainly email us. We'd be happy to respond to any of your questions about getting registered and arrivals and information like that. But Sarah, I thought maybe as people continue to add their questions in, would you like to share any good news stories from the co-op or career services area? Just of student, like I'm thinking about like Leap Junction and some of the real success stories that have come out of there, like things like the Fritter Shop. But I know that in career services and in the co-op area, you guys hear like some very fantastic stories of international student success.
Oh,
is there anything that comes to mind?
So most recently, I had a student really nervous about going out for their interviews. So I suggested that they work with my colleague, Amy Thompson, and just go over, just the interview basics. So that student met with Amy and they went through a virtual interview. They were really nervous. They went into the interview, and at the very end, so we always tell our students, ask a question at the end of the interview. It shows you're interested, okay? So this particular student said at the end, "Thank you so much for your time. Can you please give me some feedback on how I presented myself in this interview?" And the woman, it was actually with the City of London, and she was blown away. She said, "In all of my years, no student has ever asked that." So the student they emailed me, they were really excited, quite happy. 9 o'clock that night, they got notice that they got the job.
Oh, that's awesome.
So just a direct, link working with our career services department. So interviewing is very different all over the world. And I know particularly in India, it's usually who you know and you get the job. And it's not that way here. You really do need to practice and you really do need to be prepared when you go in for an interview. Another great story I just heard recently, BlackBerry. So any of those folks in IT or business, BlackBerry is a huge employer in Waterloo. They love our students. For the first time ever, we have a Fanshawe College student is an ambassador to the recruitment at BlackBerry. So he's helping to recruit students to come. And we just found out that Fanshawe has had the most, this coming winter, we will have the most students ever working at BlackBerry. So, and guys, there's some pretty great competition out there when it comes to different universities and colleges. So we're pretty proud of that. Recently, so right before the pandemic, so it would have been the fall of 2019, we learned that we had the highest employment rate for after graduation than any other college in the province. So I think it was 90.2%.
Amazing
employment
statistic.
rate. Yeah, so we were pretty proud of that. The stories are just endless. we have students going all over Canada, all over the world, international, domestic. When it comes to co-op, I happen to know a lot of co-op stats, but when it comes to careers, I used to be very involved with the business management program at South London campus, and I saw a few students post that they were in that program. I connect with a lot of those students on LinkedIn, and I am happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. I love connecting with students on there, so please seek me out. But I see all the time former students posting, just got a job here, just got a job there. So LinkedIn is a really great place to connect and find out where the past students are, where are they working, what are they doing. It helps us to keep an eye on some of them and hear some of those great success stories. I did work with a student a few years ago when I was on the career team. So I was in career for about 6 years and then moved over about 2 years ago to co-op. And I had a student I worked with. She was an international student hoping to get an internship at CBC, and we did a mock interview. She did her interview with us. Actually in one of our offices, in one of our interview rooms. Long story short, she was shortlisted for documentarian, in Ontario,
Wow.
and I saw that on LinkedIn. So I was pretty proud of her. That was amazing. So there's so many great stories. And like you said, the fritter shop, guys, anybody that's here in London, make haste to the Western Fair, the market there. We have a really great student there that makes fritters. And if you haven't had a fritter, oh man, you haven't lived. These are just amazing. And he's a former business marketing student, I believe, whose parents had a bake shop.
His business came out of, he was involved with Leap Junction, correct?
Yes. So he did go through Leap Junction. So his parents have a Dutch bakery in St. Thomas, and they made fritters. And apparently when you're Dutch, they only come out a certain time of year. And he was like, why don't these come out all the time? So he makes them all the time now in every flavor you can imagine. They're just fantastic. So
just kind of looping back to the LinkedIn comment as well. You, as as being a student at Fanshawe, you're going to connect with so many people from your program and beyond that, even with interacting with the FSU or other extracurricular activities at the college. And by connecting with them on LinkedIn, you will also be expanding your network of people that you can communicate with, and they might remember you and potentially consider you for a job or recommend you. So your colleagues are also your peers and your classmates. They're really wonderful resources as well. So
100%. You couldn't have said it better. Yeah, for sure. When you're on LinkedIn. And one of the things that I would suggest to you guys, because I know, Laura, it's so funny, when I start a co-op class, the very first thing in the chat, what's the Discord group? What's the WhatsApp group? Guys, get a LinkedIn group. Have a professional networking group on LinkedIn for your program. Connect with alumni, connect with faculty, connect with employers. A really great way, as Laura said, to expand that network. And one of the things, Laura, that I forgot to mention, and I feel terrible, is our Inspire mentoring program. It's a mentorship program here at the college. And I'm just gonna call it up here. So we'll do a little fancy schmancy thing here again. And the Inspire team will help link you with somebody, hopefully in your industry. And there's actually different layers to the Inspire mentoring program. You can build your own experience right there. You can be a peer mentor. And then there's a formal Larry Mini industry mentorship program. But they too offer events. They do peer chats. They have, they connect with others. I forget what they call them. I think they're just peer chats. But to register for that stuff, it is on the events page on in our career services, in that job board area that I showed you guys. So you can connect there with Inspire, or there's the email there. So
yeah, we've had a few questions that have come in here while you were showing us about that program, and it certainly is a wonderful program, so do check it out. But we have Sheila asking, how many rounds of interviews can a student expect for a part-time job? So maybe, again, maybe different from country to country, but typical part-time jobs, what would you say that experience looks like?
So it is very different, and it depends on the job. I do know, like McDonald's, and I'm just speaking from my own kids' experience. They went into the restaurant, the manager interviewed them right there. Can you start on Sunday, kind of thing. And that's, when it's fast food, and guys, don't negate that. That's great opportunities to get that Canadian work experience. And just a little side note, we've had business students that did, they worked there part-time. It came time to do the co-op. They managed a fast food restaurant. Like, that's management experience. That's really great experience. So that's one example, but I do know of bigger groups, bigger organizations, and more coveted part-time jobs. You're going to probably go through a couple rounds of interviews. And like, I'm thinking Home Depot and Lowe's, they typically go through a couple rounds of interviews, even for part-time jobs, because they're very, there's a lot of competition there. When it comes to co-op, I'm just dealing with a student right now saying, I've done a bunch of interviews, I haven't heard anything. Follow up. There's nothing like a good follow-up. If you just follow up, either a phone call or an email, and just say, I interviewed with you last week, just wondering where you're at in the hiring process. It's amazing, the people that get great luck out of that. And a lot of the time, hiring managers are really busy, and you may be doing them a favor, or you may catch them in a good mood, and they say, you know what, you called me, I'll give you the job. So, and we've heard that happen time and time again. So don't forget to follow up. Absolutely. So I don't know if that answers the question, but it's kind of, it depends. It's that great academic term.
Yeah. We have a question from Joe here. He's asking, what would you recommend for students that are coming to college direct from high school, so they have limited experience?
Okay. So Laura, what would you say? What would be the first thing you would tell them?
I would say to highlight experience that maybe isn't work, but is still shows the skills and abilities that you have. So if you volunteered with an organization, if you have won any academic awards, that would be a wonderful thing to include on a resume. Ideally, you're just trying to show an employer what you bring to the table. So anything that you can kind of qualify, that's what I would personally include. But what are your thoughts?
Well, you had already said it, so I hate to put you on the spot, but you said get involved, network, connect with your fellow students. Honestly, get involved, whether it's student to the Fanshawe Student Union, go to events. If the International Center is looking for volunteers, volunteer. That you guys offer incredible trips, and I imagine those will start happening again soon, right? Like those bus trips and events.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. We're hoping as soon as things open up. But another way that you can qualify some of this information is through our co-curricular record. So that's a really great option for students as well who don't have a lot of work experience. But if you do volunteer for an activity, for example, I believe the Ignite Career Conference, that was one of I think it was eligible for a co-curricular record, but perhaps I might be thinking of something else. But
no, I think you're right.
So.
And I'm just sorry, I'm trying to monitor these questions. So I had popped in the chat there about who your co-op consultant is, or who your career consultant is. My suggestion, if you've got those specific questions, like I'm seeing ones for the aviation, still a fairly new program. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not sure if you've heard this, but COVID really adversely affected travel, right? So that industry is just starting to ramp up again. But connect with your co-op consultant there and ask questions, connect with your faculty there for sure. So IT, I look after IT co-ops for the programs that have a co-op, but for ISM, your career consultant in the School of IT, Her name is Amy Thompson. So I don't have her email because I know that it's kind of a funny one, but again, remember that page that I showed you where to log in for the jobs on your FOL page? The full list of career contacts are there, and I can maybe pull them up again. Career,
We're just
okay, so
rounding at the end of our presentation time together today. I know that that hour goes quick, and we've had lots of really wonderful information and tips. Sarah, were you able to share the presentation in the chat just before we?
I have not,
No?
I haven't saved it as a PDF. So why don't I
Okay.
do that right now, and while we'll wrap up. And
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just also put in the chat a link to the career services page as well.
oh, thank you. That's what I was going to do next.
So for people who were interested in some of those resume workshops, in learning more about what career services does, that would be a great place to start to get connected with some of our professionals in that area. We will also be doing a virtual networking session next week. I believe it's on the 18th. We'll be doing a session as well. So that'll be another opportunity if you're looking for a little bit more career guidance. Certainly attend that session on the 18th to learn more about virtual networking, because we're really in a new world of career development. So take in as much information as you can through these sessions for sure. So Sarah has added in the presentation there. So if you're looking for those links, please download, or feel free to download that document. For any general questions or anything we might have missed, I'm just putting in our contact information as well. Fanshawe Cares at fanshawec.ca. So please feel free to email if you're looking for another copy of the presentation. If you had any additional questions, we'd be happy to share them with Sarah, and she can get back to you on those. But otherwise, I wish you guys all a really wonderful day. And thank you again, Sarah, for joining us and for sharing such great information.
It's my pleasure. Were there any SST students on? Are there any NSA students here? No? Okay. Usually there's, Laura, I'm sure you've met a million of
absolutely.
SST. Yeah. That's great.
So please feel free to join us tomorrow when we'll be doing our Housing 101 session. So really great information about knowing your rights as renters here in London, how to go about looking for housing, a bit of information on living with roommates that you might find helpful. So we do hope we'll see you again tomorrow at 9:30.
So I'll just pop in the chat one final thing. This is the career services consultants, how you can access who your career services consultant is for all those part-time job questions that you guys have coming at me. So good luck, guys. Take care and welcome to Fanshawe. Thanks, Laura, for hosting this.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye now.